let's get it. Let's cut to the chase. So I know we got so much going on, man. Guys, George from Blockchain DXB. Yeah, he's covering a lot of topics on the macro level, talking about Bitcoin, especially with the open interest. That's something to look out for. Personally, for me, my thing is I'm expecting another dump before we rise up. So there's going to be another. I'm hoping another. I would say a final flushing, I guess. So we'll see how that goes. There's also we're going to talk about Ethereum open interest. We're also going to cover some academic stuff in terms of reports, important papers we're going to cover. We got a really controversial paper from the European Central Bank. Man, what is going on? So definitely, man, George, I'm looking forward to have this conversation. And of course, we're going to cover the global crypto markets. And of course, we're here in Sunnyside, Dubai, UAE, United Arab Emirates. We got some interesting discussions we need to cover. This is regarding DAO. So let's see. This is because when it comes to DAO, I need to talk to my buddy Anton Golub. He's a 3-time entrepreneur. He built an exchange. He built a market making entity, and now he's also working on some pretty interesting stuff too. So and also Swiss Asset DAO. So and we'll cover some important updates and some event stuff. So that's secondary. But hey, let's talk about Bitcoin, baby.
Yeah, I mean, you've been saying this, Markose, since the last few weeks that you are worried about the open interest rate, isn't it? And I kind of dismissed it, but you clearly were right. Now, what did actually happen?
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it.
The Bitcoin open interest rate did reach to $40 billion, which is apparently the highest it has ever been. Now, I'm not well versed regarding open interest, but there's a website called coinclass.com that does give very specific information and does get updated real time as to what open interest is. Essentially, Bitcoin open interest refers to the total number of outstanding Bitcoin futures options, and these are the contracts that are available in the market. Now, with a lot of geopolitical tension that is going on right now, with US elections coming up, I'm pretty much sure it could be positive and negative, but since the last 72 hours, if I'm not mistaken, the prices did actually go down. And I tend to track, these data on a daily basis. And along with the price of Bitcoin, Ethereum has actually gone down as well. And yesterday, Ethereum's market cap did actually go once again below the $300 billion mark. Now, earlier on, Markose, you mentioned about that, expecting that the prices to actually go down. Last time when the open interest was high, only the price of Bitcoin did actually go down by well over 20%. And this happened in August of this year. So, open interest is something I think a lot of traders as well as average individuals like you and me should definitely be aware as to what is going on. And there are a couple of websites. One is, coinalyze.net. I don't know how you pronounce it. It's Coinalyze. That actually shows you real-time information regarding, Bitcoin open interest as well as Ethereum open interest. And there's a lot of open interest on Binance. Chicago Mercantile Exchange has the highest, I believe, and followed by Bybit as well. So I'm pretty much sure a lot of Bitcoin whales and traders are definitely trying to manipulate the market as well, isn't it?
Look, guys, all I can say, we shouldn't be surprised. We shouldn't be surprised. Just like the stock markets, our friends in the TradFi space, they know very well, it's an open secret that there is a manipulation in the markets. You shouldn't be surprised it's happening also in the crypto space, especially in the Bitcoin space too. So that, like you said, we got to be aware of it. But once you are aware, now you can prepare. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And to make matters worse, there are two really powerful reports, that has been published. One is by the European Central Bank, and the second one is by the Federal Reserve of Minneapolis. Now, the first one is a massive one. That is, by the European Central Bank, and the title of the document, Markose, is called as The Distributional Consequences of Bitcoin. Now, what I'd really recommend our listeners to go and read through it, or what you can do is, put it into ChatGPT and ask it to summarize it, and that's exactly what I've done. Now, a lot of the Bitcoin maximalist Markose, they are extremely upset with this report. I'm not sure on YouTube if you follow a Bitcoiner called as Bitcoin Miser. He's always standing up and he does a lot of his video channels. He does this very low key, and he's been doing videos, regarding Bitcoin since a very long time. He has actually
Yeah,
said
the
that
name's
this
not
is one of the
familiar.
worst. Yeah, I mean, if you spot his videos, you might actually see it. He's often the host at many of the Bitcoin events, and his videos are just random. He does it at his house. He's always standing, always excited and charged up. Anyways, he said that this is probably one of the most damaging papers so far as Bitcoin is concerned, or rather in opposition to Bitcoin is concerned. But I went through it, then I asked ChatGPT, and unfortunately, as much as I hate saying this, they're just speaking the facts because they touch base on, Bitcoin's original promise versus reality. And Bitcoin originally started as, a movement to a separation of money and the state. Right now, it has just turned out to be, play for the multi-billionaires, trillion-dollar companies, isn't it? And they do make a very specific
You
point.
shouldn't be surprised.
Exactly, they do make a very specific point that early adopters are the ones who have benefited the most. Now, that is a fact, isn't it, Marcos?
No, sure, yeah, and which is fine. I have no problem with those who made money early. They should benefit from it, but like the problem with these Bitcoin maxis and stuff, sometimes I don't know, they kind of like fucking annoy me with all this stuff. And also, let's also remember too, Michael Saylor too, start talking about like it's you should all be self-custodying, you should trust the
Yes.
government and the banks or whatever, institutional custody, like all these the same Bitcoin maxis like praise this guy, and like hold on, wait a minute, like aren't you surprised? So it is strange. It is strange to see the ECB. I'm not a big fan of the ECB, the European Central Bank, the
Yeah.
BIS, any central banks, and so politically I'm sort of like a libertarian anarchist, I guess. But I mean, it's kind of fun. It's kind of interesting to see the truth come from these guys. Like so it is interesting. So yeah, not surprised.
Yeah, and I kind of 100% agree to, and that's exactly what Roger Ver's book is all about, isn't it?
Yeah,
Hijacking Bitcoin.
hijacking
He
Bitcoin.
touches on a
So,
couple of these points as well, isn't it?
yeah, so I guess this, if I remember correctly, I know I read it one time. So there's a lot of, I would say, like the intelligence agencies getting involved in this stuff. I mean, we shouldn't be surprised. The CIA, a lot of the early cryptographers worked for the NSA, like David Schwartz, the CTO of Ripple. He was ex NSA, or I guess he worked with the NSA, in some form or fashion, but not a bad thing or whatever. I mean, because it's pure advanced mathematics. That's the only place where highly skilled mathematicians can really work on some cool stuff. So I don't blame them. But in terms of the central banks, um, we should. I know from different videos, Rodo did talk about it. So I mean, there is a connection. Of course, who's funding anyways all these intelligence agencies? You got the government, politicians, or these bureaucracies, and the bureaucracies get their money from the bank from the banking system, especially the central bank system. So it's a whole new uh I guess no, sorry, it's a inverse. It's like a whole underverse kind of thing going on. So yeah, um,
And
again, not surprised, not surprised. This is
yeah, and you're absolutely spot on. And the notorious authors, they have also took a jab at the US elections, which is coming up, stating that politicians can actually use Bitcoin as a way to swing voters. Now, that is also a fact, but that is not the right way to take a jab at someone because I did actually look at the author's name and try to follow them on Twitter and social media, and clearly they were left leaning, both of them. So, because of that, they were saying that, one side of politics, that is President Donald Trump, is just trying to sway in a lot of voters, whereas Kamala Harris, she's just trying to be absolutely transparent. So, the wording that they have used looks like clearly they're taking a particular side. Now, one thing which I always think about, Marcus, when you talk about Bitcoin, which country has been benefited the most? I think it is the first world countries who have been benefited the most, isn't it? You talk about the United States of America, you talk about United Kingdom, Switzerland.
yes.
What about the third world country? And the topic specifically mentions about global redistribution. Now look, Marcos, I absolutely love Bitcoin. But fact is fact, isn't it? Now, a lot of the
Yeah.
Bitcoin maximalists, or is even a company called Relight, they're actually stating that no, they're putting it across in a completely different picture. They're making an argument that Bitcoin does give the opportunity for people to go out and buy Bitcoin. Granted, it does. But what I always keep on saying, Marcus, in my Crypto and Coffee Date podcast, a lot of the early adopters, multi-billion dollars, trillion-dollar companies, they often say to go out and buy Satoshis, as well as Michael Saylor. They always go out and say that, you have the option to go out and buy Satoshi. The answer is pretty simple. They want to create the demand for it. In creating
Yeah.
demand, the price increases and the existing net worth increases, isn't it? That's the only reason why. And you touched based upon Michael Saylor. I have never been a fan of Michael Saylor, and we've discussed this because he often posts a lot of fake news and misleading information regarding Bitcoin. But looks like he does not want self custody as well, isn't it?
Yeah, but you know what? I would give Michael Saylor some credit. So yeah, he mentioned that. Okay, like I guess I don't know. Don't quote me on this, but like Bitcoin is good enough. Okay, I guess. But if you but if you want look, the governments especially the top of Monero. You know me. I'm like there's a Monero crazy guy. So it's funny. He said, look, Monero is just too good for governments to let it be used. So that part I would agree with Michael Saylor on that. But it is, but I have some friends who are libertarians and stuff, and Michael Saylor has been a big supporter of the Atlas Society, who I really like. They talk
Yeah.
about Austrian School of Economics, free markets. Think of like Mario Rothbard and a lot of these Austrian School of economists. Who have talked about sound money and stuff. So, so that part I will give him. I will give him some credit. But again, I think there has to be. I wish he has taken some time to have how do you say discussions with other people in the same the libertarian spectrum to have a different understanding. I think he might have taken a different tune, but then again too but George could it also be that because he is the founder of MicroStrategy, and also less than 8% of MicroStrategy is owned by BlackRock. I mean, there's a whole web of there are lots of dots are getting connected. Let's put it that way. So.
And he's also a part of the Crypto Council Innovation, which is mostly
right.
with the Bitcoin mining industry, and not necessarily Bitcoin as such, but the proof of mining industry. So a lot of people are trying to find out loopholes regarding. Look, me personally, I've never been a fan of Michael Saylor, apart from the fact that he did actually sell Voice.com for $30 million. That I think was absolutely brilliant and genius. I'm not sure, Marcus, if you know, there was an OG of Bitcoin called as the Bearded Guy. You should definitely follow him on LinkedIn. He often bashes him, Michael Saylor. He literally calls him an idiot. He was in Dubai. He used to live in Dubai for quite a few years, and he was the speaker at the first blockchain summit as well, Future Blockchain Summit. So he's kind of like one of the OGs of Bitcoin and blockchain technology as well. So later on, I'll go ahead and send you his LinkedIn profile as well.
Yeah.
But that is one report which looks like it is damaging. But at the same time, there's another report which is being published as well, Marcus. Now, the title of this report is more focused on the deficits, and it's called as Unique Implementation of Permanent Primary Deficit. Now, this particular paper, Marcus, is a bit different. It examines, if a government can consistently run through a budget deficit. Now, what it does actually find is that Bitcoin complicates the entire thing, and it does that by creating multiple outcomes. Now, what they're actually suggesting is even crazy. The authors are actually suggesting, Marcus, that there is a possible way to go and ban Bitcoin or put extreme high taxation. That is what they are suggesting. I'm hoping that thing does not happen. So both the documents or reports that has come out is definitely not looking good so far as Bitcoin is concerned. Now, is it the reason why they're doing that? Is it because of the US elections coming up? They know that one side of the political party is in favor, or are they merging with some notorious whales traders and they're trying to manipulate the open interest? I think it could be a mixture of both as well. So, both the reports are definitely not beneficial. I'm really waiting for Coin Bureau to go ahead and put out any episode regarding this, because I'm pretty much sure he breaks it down extremely well, isn't it?
Yeah, no, yeah, true. Yeah, true. It's been a while. I caught up with the Coin Bureau, with Guy, and I think there's other lady. I think she just joined Binance as a global content lead. So congrats to her. I think Jessica. Yeah. But yeah. So man, I definitely need to look into some of the new reports from Coin Bureau, because I know he has covered a lot of some of the Bitcoin stuff. I love his take on the World Economic Forum. Those guys are not my favorite, so I'm happy that there's someone of really big, who has a really big audience talking about this stuff. Because honestly, because there's a lot of regular guys like you and me who are aware of what's going on with the WEF and some of their policies, which doesn't really benefit, let's say, the global South. So, as namesake, they talk about all this goody good stuff, but and their views on a blockchain, and it's not my favorite stance. So I think I'm glad we got to have some people to really bring that message out there.
And I think Paul has sent us a message stating, "Love you guys. I love you alive, guys." Thanks so much,
Thank
Paul.
you.
And I think our listeners should definitely check out his book.
Yes, Citizen One. So yeah, definitely. Hopefully end of this week, definitely would love to give a shout out to Paul G. Conlin for his first book, Citizen One. I think it's a must read for a lot of people to understand the history of identity, and also the advent of what is to come when it comes to digital identity in the new age of AI and and a new political era. So I think this is something we got to put it out there. And also, yeah, me and John, we did a live with Paul, and really beautiful story about his family, his grandparents, and Nazi Germany, and now and also what's happening in Australia right now. I mean, it's wow, just a lot to take in, but it's important to reflect on it too.
And also the importance of not to share your biometrics detail with absolutely anyone. So we definitely would love to have him once again on.
Oh, totally. Oh my goodness. Let's not get started. Oh God.
Yeah. Now, one news, Marcus, which I particularly like this entire week, and this is to do with Chainlink. And Chainlink, they have actually partnered with SWIFT, and they are coming up with a new blockchain integration. I definitely do feel that this could just be a game changer, because what they are doing is they're trying to change the existing SWIFT system, but they're incorporating privacy as well, and they're also incorporating our favorite thing, that is zero knowledge proof. And I think what our listeners can do is, if you actually go to the YouTube video of Chainlink or Chainlink Labs, Sergey Nazarov very briefly explains what the partnership is all about. You can't understand it because it is extremely technical. Maybe someone like Anton or Dr. Anish Mohammed, they might be able to understand it. But, they have written show notes that gives you a brief idea as to, what and how they're integrating the new blockchain with Chainlink and SWIFT. Now, Chainlink, they also have a game changer called a CCIP, and that is essentially focusing on interoperability. I wouldn't be surprised, Marcos, let's say, if it does as it is intended to be. Chainlink might just be in the top 5 of all protocols, because I'm looking in detail what they are doing. It definitely looks extremely promising. They are focusing on interoperability, and they are focusing on, uh, payment systems like SWIFT, and they want to go ahead and incorporate blockchain technology with privacy features such as zero knowledge proof. And knowing the history of Sergey Nazarov, I think he can definitely go ahead and handle the entire project, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's possible. Yeah, I mean, I think in many ways, like this, Chainlink as a project has, like it is in many ways like sort of like underrated, because they haven't doing like it is an Oracle like a Oracle protocol. So, and especially when it comes to like defining prices and stuff, I guess in some sense it is sort of I guess like centralized, but it has been powering a lot of DeFi projects. A lot actually. So they do have a major stake. So they play a very important role too. So, but that, I know I have my concerns in terms of some of that, the admin keys, I guess. But with regards to them working with the SWIFT system, I think it could be. I think it should be a game changer. It should be because the BRIC nations they're coming with their own payment rails, their own payment systems. So and also the SWIFT is essentially it is a messaging system. But for the new age coming with blockchain and you're dealing with a whole host of new geopolitical challenges. They have to stay relevant in some form. The only thing that will keep the SWIFT system like obsolete is really a lot of it is all political, not the technology thing. Chainlink can do a lot of great stuff for SWIFT, but I know I think George. I think we have to just wait and see how politically things will change in the West. Because SWIFT is a Western Anglo-American what do you say tool. So hopefully it stays relevant. That's it.
Yeah, I absolutely loved Sergey Nazarov's interview with Lex Friedman. I think he's really, really smart, and I think what we need to also be looking at is the CCIP Markose, which is cross-chain interoperability protocol by Chainlink. We did actually cover this in one of the sessions. It definitely could be a game changer. So which means Ethereum to, let's say, Dogecoin to privacy coins, everything gets tackled with the Chainlink CCIP protocol. Now, the other thing I wanted to touch base is he also talked about AI consensus. So rather than the community making any decision, they're working where the artificial intelligence will be used to go ahead and make consensus. So, the video that he went in and explained, it is extremely technical. Honestly, I couldn't understand it. But maybe someone who's actually working within the SWIFT system, they will be in a much better position to go ahead and understand it. But that I do feel, could be an absolutely game changer. Now, I wanted to touch base on the cryptocurrency market, Markose, and then wanted to discuss some really interesting news regarding the Russell KMR DAO. And they have a new protocol, legal framework called Terra. But let's look at the cryptocurrency market. We already touched base on the Bitcoin open interest rate, isn't it? And I do feel that the whales and notorious traders are definitely going to go ahead and trying to manipulate the market. But one massive change which I've seen probably for the first time ever, and this is to do with decentralized exchange, and probably for the very first time, Markose, Radium has overtaken the volume of Uniswap for 3 days in a row. And Radium, as we know, works only on Solana blockchain, isn't it? And we discussed, I sent you a snapshot of the decentralized apps that were working on Solana blockchain. So something does not seem to be making a lot of sense. Maybe if any of the listeners can share some light, what you can do is you can go to dapradar.com and then look at the decentralized apps that are working on Solana blockchain. But nonetheless, so far as the volume on decentralized exchange is concerned, Radium, it works only on Solana blockchain, that has overtaken the volume for 3 days in a row and probably for the first time. And it has overtaken Uniswap by a very long shot. But today, Uniswap's volume did actually overtake that of Radium's 24-hour volume.
Yeah.
But other than that, the volume of stablecoins for the last 3 days were good. But today, the volume of stablecoins were not that good. So I'm really excited to see what happens over the next coming days with the open interest rate, let's say both for Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm pretty much sure it's definitely going to impact the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it's quite interesting to see. It's good to see some sort of excitement taking place in the dexes. So not surprised, Solana doing a lot of good stuff. So a lot of momentum. I'm kind of curious about like Ton and I haven't seen much really.
Not much in Ton and other decentralized exchanges, right?
Okay. Yeah, I guess there'll be some momentum. We'll see.
When I'm looking at decentralized exchange markets, let's say like Uniswap, I am seeing in UAE quite a lot of news regarding banks. They are merging. I believe Standard Chartered, they have a partnership with Crypto.com where they're offering, let's say, banking services, isn't it? I think it would be an absolute game changer for a bank in UAE to, let's say, merge up with Uniswap or, let's say, with any of the decentralized exchange. That would definitely be a game changer. I don't think so any bank has actually done that.
Yeah.
Now you have to make a decision as to, who goes ahead and makes the decision. Is it the DAO that goes ahead and makes the decision to go ahead and merge it
Yeah.
with a bank? I very specifically remember Make a DAO. They tried to go ahead and merge with a bank, but the community did not like it because, it was the token holders who were, selected few token holders who had then made the decision, but the community said no. So they went ahead and uh, did not, they did actually sign the contract, but they said no, we can't go ahead with the contract or something of those lines. But let's say if a bank from UAE, let's say RAK Bank or let's say Emirates Bank, if they actually merge with a decentralized exchange, let's say like Radium or Uniswap, there is a massive question mark regarding KYC and AML. But maybe for smaller transactions, maybe if you were to do it for, let's say, any transactions, $50 or below, I think that would be an absolute game changer. So let's say, Marcus,
Yeah.
you're using a
I could
decentralized
see.
exchange Uniswap.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Rather than converting it, let's say, back to a centralized exchange, you connect it to your bank and go ahead and withdraw it in dirham or fiat or currency. I don't think so any bank is doing that with any decentralized exchange, isn't it?
And no. One thing for sure when it comes to the banks, look, they know very well, like, like, they're big, they're powerful, they got the money and stuff, but they are also aware of the dangers of, incredible technologies like, Texas
Yeah,
and other exchanges, other platforms can pose a challenge. So they will have to figure out a way how to, because their main goal is to survive. They have to
true.
stay relevant. So they will have to figure out a way how to work with the new system, a new upcoming system, because they're the incumbents, and of course, like any typical incumbents, they are going to see crypto. They're going to see these dexes as a threat, which is expected. It's human nature. But for survival, either they fight hard as hell, get the governments to be involved, which will eventually fail. All right, if
Yeah,
you look at history.
it'll just
But
make the DEX stronger, isn't it?
yeah, and I think, or they need to somehow accept the new reality. And I think I'm glad you brought up, like, say, like, small transactions. Now I don't know about $50 below something could it be possible without KYC. But I guess, look, I think there's a way for some of these banks, to have access to the unregulated economy. Like, there's some things like, look, to because, like, they are missing out on a huge market because of the KYC stuff. Like, for example, here in Dubai or here in the UAE, if you want to have a checking account or something, you got to have a salary of, say, 4,000 dirhams or 5,000 dirhams or something like that, and some other documents. Most of the people don't have that. They
Yeah.
have to go to, like, say, an Ansari exchange or, one of those money changing businesses and stuff. So, that's just so they're handling that economy, but there's a way for them to have access to it. And with crypto, it's not that complicated. The access is there. So
Now, one shocking news is that one of the ideas of CBDC, Marcos, especially in UAE, is anyone who has the Emirates ID, they would not require any other documentation and they will get access to central bank digital currency. At least that is what the idea is. So they don't want it, like as you
yeah,
mentioned, you require minimum
yeah,
4,000 salary, dirham salary, isn't it?
yeah.
One
Hmm.
of the plans is to have minimal documentation. If I'm not mistaken, the only documentation required will be a valid Emirates ID. That's about all. And, people will be. So let's say I have just an Emirates ID, I do not have any salary. It could be possible that I'll be able to open a central bank digital currency account and then I can receive funding for absolutely any amount. And I hate saying this, that does actually solve unbanking problem, isn't it, which Bitcoin is trying to solve. But there are always dangers associated with CBDC as well. A lot more
That's true.
dangers
A
associated
lot more.
with CBDC.
A lot more. Depending on, I'm not worried about like the UAE. I'm more worried about like say other nations, like for example, like say for example like India,
Yeah,
or even also even some of the Western countries too. Gosh, I mean like say Canada for
Western
example. I mean
countries
like
definitely, yes.
yeah, I mean I mean like this is like politically insane. So
Even
um
UK for that matter.
yeah, so I guess this is where like I have to agree with my buddy Aaron Day. You know, like we missed the plot when it came to Bitcoin, though. To be honest, I mean, we could have amazing all-time highs, like 100K or something like that for Bitcoin or something, and to be able to do like amazing medium exchange, like peer-to-peer kind of stuff. I mean, that itself would have been a freaking game changer. But I know that's a whole other story. Um, but yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, that is exactly what, the ECB report, that's exactly what they talk about.
I know, that's crazy. I don't know. Maybe I I would love to hear what Stefan Rivera has to say, or all these other guys. So it's man. I don't
Let's see
know.
interesting times ahead. Let's talk about another. I'm not sure if this is a breaking news, but definitely a really interesting news, Marcus. And this is to do with Russell Kmart DAO. They have
Yes. All
released a
right.
legal
Yeah.
framework for DAO. So Russell Kmart DAO is Russell Kmart DAO, that is Digital Asset Oasis. And they have come up with a legal framework which is called as DARE, and the alphabet E is in a smaller, not in capitalized. So it does actually, if you actually go to the website, it does actually tell you what is it that you need to go and register. But I just question, Marcus, when you talk about DAO, that essentially is a legal framework, isn't it? So I'm not sure what to have a legal, what to make of a legal framework for a legal framework, because as I understand, when you talk about DAO, a decentralized or distributed autonomous organization, that itself is a legal framework and that is a governance. Then you have the pillars of open blockchain, let's say like open source, permissionless, censorship resistant, neutral, borderless, publicly verifiability. That essentially is the
Yeah.
governance and the legal framework. Now to have another legal framework to support that, I don't understand the need for that. The only
Yeah.
assumption I can make is, let's say if a protocol or project is managed by a foundation or an association, for the foundation and association, this is where the legal framework kicks in. So the foundation and association can then have banking arrangements or banking agreements. That is it. The only thing I can understand. And I did actually mention
Yeah.
that in the LinkedIn comment, and the lawyer,
Right.
who's working on that, she said 100% yes.
Yeah. No, I would agree to, because like it makes no sense to have a legal framework for DAO, because it is itself is I know
Exactly, yeah.
so yeah, so just to acknowledge, like I'm confused. So the relevance of it and stuff. So maybe there's something I'm not understanding or I'm missing out. So I don't know. So I think this is going to confuse a lot of people, to be honest.
Uh,
So
I, I would I would think of it that it is ideal for foundations and associations who are managing,
okay,
let's say,
yeah,
any token or cryptocurrency, for them to
okay,
go ahead and register,
yeah,
because they have very stringent requirement. Because I did actually share the link, and it does actually state, Marcos, that there has to be a minimum of two founding members. And what is really interesting is that the founding members, they don't necessarily have to be from UAE. And even the project
yeah,
or protocol does not have to be from UAE. So let's say if there is a
right,
DAO in another country, they can have an agent over here and they can go ahead and get registered. Now you can come up with different scenarios. What if that particular individual is from a sanctioned country, or let's say not following Sharia
yeah,
compliant laws? What happens to that? So, I think the rules are extremely simple. And they also have something for council members. So you need to have a council of 2 to 10 people. And they're also talking about very specific business activities. And, you need to show supporting business plans as well. So you need to have a business plan that you need to go ahead and submit. You need to go ahead and submit your white paper. You need to go ahead and submit your tokenomics document. Now, regarding tokenomics document, I would like to think that that particular tokenomics is being audited. And so there has to be someone from the cryptocurrency space who can audit and say that, yes, this tokenomics is fine. And it is not where the founders are getting 99% of the tokens involved. At least that is, it should be, isn't it? That definitely makes common sense.
I can see, like, say, for example, our partner Data Secure, like these smart contract auditors, or say like Halburn or Hacken, look into it. That'll kind of give you an idea, like, how this, formulation of, token ownerships and stuff, like, can affect. So that would be it. That would be interesting to see. So I know like Hacken is have registered with RAK DAO, not as a DAO, but as a company, but they're one of the partners, I guess. So
I think you're right, partners because they have registered with ADGM, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or it could be the other way around. They have partnered with ADGM and they could be registered with RAK DAO. You could be right.
Yeah, I know. I think I check with our friends from Hacken and see.
Mix and match.
But you're right. About because I was thinking more as an individual, like, trying to start a DAO or something like that. I mean, in that case, starting a DAO, just create like a Telegram group or a Discord group or something like that. But it doesn't get any fancier than that, I guess. But if you talk about foundations, then I think that would make sense because like, again, it's just a way to, like, how to bridge the traditional world with this open wild space economy of crypto. So I that's the reason why we need this kind of stuff. So but yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that there might be some new update, some updates or something, or I'm speculating.
They do have an event on the 25th of this month, that is tomorrow, where they're going to give out more information regarding, the event. And I think what our listeners, if they are in Dubai, there is a free bus taking them to Ras Al Khaimah as well. And the website is conference.rakdao.com. And I believe the cheapest ticket is $200. So in case if anyone wants to go out and attend that, they could definitely go out and attend. I just really wanted to read out one thing directly from the website regarding their legal framework. It actually states that a DAO association can engage in a range of lawful business activities that align with a trade license issued by RAK DAO. But what about privacy coins? We know that privacy coins are kind of not allowed in UAE, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if, let's say we want to have a DAO for privacy coins, it is not allowed. And this goes back, to the pillars of open blockchain, which means you're censoring certain things. But nonetheless, definitely interesting news, I guess. Other thing I wanted to find out is, and I'm not sure what it is. What about non-Sharia compliant tokens? Because I've heard so many coins. I think there is one coin which Dr. Anish Muhammad is also part of, and they want to be a Sharia compliant coin as well. So I'm not sure. It's going to be really interesting to see what the outcome to that is. But yeah, I think we've touched base on pretty much everything, isn't it, Markose?
Yeah.
One interesting news and positive news, and that is to do with Nigerian executive, not Nigerian, the Binance executive from Nigeria. He has been freed.
Yeah, he's an Armenian American. Yeah, so he's but I think, like, the Nigerian court has said he should be released, right? So
yes,
yeah.
So he's definitely going to be out. So that is because there were videos circulating regarding him that his health condition was really bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's glad that he gets to go home. I'm not sure if he's actually reached home or not yet. But other than that, the final news I wanted to touch base, Marcus, and this is the cryptocurrency world is filled with a lot of drama, excitement, and actual drama. And there's a news about an Olympic athlete merging with cocaine, merging with Tether USDT, and the federal or the Department of Justice is involved as well. So there is a Canadian Olympic snowboarder called as Ryan James Wedding, and he has been charged with cocaine trafficking. Now, what is crazy is that he was involved with a group of individuals, and there were multiple murders as well. And
Damn.
they did. Yeah, I thought it might just be, just cocaine traffic and maybe just one accidental murder, but there were
I thought it
quite
was
a
a
lot of
joke. This is
murders
for
involved. No,
real?
no, no. It is for real, brother. There's quite a lot of multiple murders involved, and they were actually using Tether USDT as some medium of exchange. And so it's going to be really interesting to see. I'm pretty much sure that Netflix, they will come up with a docu-series. I'm not sure, Marcus, if you watched
Dude.
Narcos by any chance. So,
No, I haven't. No. People
oh
keep
man,
telling me about it, like, but I just haven't got a chance. But bro, this show is crazy. This is like, oh man, oh my goodness,
see,
this is a Netflix, docu series.
they based on
Worthy.
Narcos, based on the documentary. I wouldn't be surprised if the first. I mean, if they would have been aware of Bitcoin, they would have been the OGs of Bitcoin. They would have been the OGs of zero knowledge proof and absolutely everything, because the gangsters over there, they did actually get the world's first computer pretty much the same week when it was released as well. So they did get access to mobile phones, the laptops. They did have access to all of the latest technologies, and they were using it for illicit purposes. But yeah, it's interesting to know that they're using Tether USDT also for this. But yeah,
Yeah.
now what about your week, Marcus? You are extremely busy this entire week, isn't it?
Yeah, no, just been man, like I mean, I don't know, it's been like uh how do you say, like, just challenging, just keeping track of a lot of things. So I guess, yeah. So yesterday I was at the Cardano Summit. It was actually pretty good. I guess it's been really nice. Good to see some interesting projects. Because me, I'm representing ORT, which is a decentralized cloud infrastructure for AI. And yeah, I just came across some one or two interesting projects in AI. So kind of curious to see, what to work with. They're doing, like distributed storage, distributed compute. So also, got to catch up with some old friends. Um, and yeah, just my purpose is just to network and look out for interesting business partnerships. And speaking of business partnerships, our friends from Zilliqa, because I got to meet our buddy Anton. So yeah, Max Katiala, he was there at the event at Cardano, and the reason why would the Zilliqa group be at the Cardano summit is that they have signed a partnership with Cardano. So that's interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, they're working on uh, quite a quite a big comprehensive partnerships, which will involve quite a lot of integration. So that'll be interesting to see the next steps with regards to. But I'll be going today. I have my buddy Sohail Zahibi from TokenScope, so he'll be speaking on. I forgot the topic. Something that has to do with, I think, RWAs or something like that. So I'll be there to support my boy. And also Anton Golub will be there as well, and also one of my friends from the European Blockchain Association, Christian Gleich. So he's an ambassador, so he has invited me to come to exactly Cardano Summit, and yeah, so it'll be great to would love to see how long he'll be staying in Dubai. Would love to have him on our show after our special guest from Bitcoin.com. Sorry, Bitcoin
Absolutely.
Magazine. So kind of definitely would love to hear his take on the blockchain scene in the European continent. So really curious to know. Definitely want to ask some tough questions on regulations. So that'll be because he has a different take on things. So definitely would love to have those cool conversations. And yeah, and other than that, just a quick update from Ort. Just 2 days ago, we just released the commercial launch of Data Hub. That is our Web3
Nice.
data annotation a product, or think of it as data labeling. So the Web3 community can participate in labeling the data, get paid for it, and also we also share revenues of the data sets that get listed in various data exchanges. So I think this one is quite the most impactful product involving blockchain and AI. And this is also a great Deepin plus AI narrative because you are using your phone to participate in the decentralized AI revolution. So the revolution is just one click away, y'all. So definitely excited to have that. And we also plan to have some organize some AMA series, hopefully by the beginning of November. So we're trying to bring some interesting people. I hope to bring in Don Tapscott, who has written some Wall Street, award-winning books on blockchain
Yep.
and Web3, including his son, Alex Tapscott. So I got a chance to, meet with him yesterday. So that was kind of cool. And I hope to, yeah. So actually, he's already on his flight to Toronto. I wish he could stay more longer, but he wants to come back to Dubai. He loves the energy over here. And so, yeah, so I'll hope to see him soon. So yeah, that's what, George. Those are some amazing updates we have with Ort. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Don Tapscott, I think he's been probably the most influential person in making blockchain what it is. He's been harping about the blockchain technology and the promises of
yeah,
blockchain technology since a very long time. He did make internet famous as well. A lot of them do actually credit him for making internet what it is, and now his son as well. Now, the only thing what I can say is regarding Dubai right now, it is turning out to be a red ocean. Is there too many companies, too many projects? It just means from a business point of view, a lot of competition. For us customers, it
yeah,
means great. It means cheaper
yeah,
services, better quality products. Now, regarding the guy who's talking about real world asset tokenization, Marcus, I'd really like you to go ahead and ask him one specific question. So let's say if I get a token of real world asset, let's say a real estate or a car, I need to go ahead and do a KYC and AML. But what happens
yeah,
to that particular token if I go ahead and sell it on a secondary market? Let's say on a secondary market, because what if that particular individual is from a sanctioned country? How does the whole real world asset tokenization work? I've asked this to quite a lot of people, and they've directly told me that is an interesting question. We don't know the answer to that. And that is a very serious question as well. So let's say, Marco, I
yeah.
buy
It
a,
is.
a
Yeah,
token of a Burj Khalifa real estate, let's say just 1 feet by 1 feet, kind of similar to an NFT, but in a tokenized form. If I decide to go ahead and sell it to an individual who's from a sanctioned country, can I go ahead and do that? Because you're kind of breaking the law, isn't it? So I'm not sure where does real world asset tokenization fit into this. Now, I wanted to also share one thing, Marcus, which I did actually share in 2015. When you talk about the ERC20 token, Marcus, it is very
yeah,
simple. In that ERC20 token, what governments and someone from the Dubai or UAE government should probably listen to this. What the government can say is, in order to go ahead and make these transactions legal, something on similar lines of making, DAO a legal entity, what governments can say is we can go ahead and add a couple of codes ensuring that this particular transaction is Sharia compliant. So let's say, Marcus, if I want to sell you a car using Ethereum ERC20 token, you and me go ahead and write that token, but the government specifies certain conditions that, which makes that particular transaction Sharia compliant. And then let's say if we do have any disagreement between us, then we can go to the government and the government can say, hey, you know what? No, this transaction is Sharia compliant. And, there could be legal consequences. Because right now, what happens in ERC20 token, the government can say, you've done a transaction on a blockchain protocol. It has nothing to do with us. At least the UAE is
yeah,
supportive. And this goes back to the whole transaction regarding salary. There was some misleading fake news information that the UAE government is now allowing salary using cryptocurrency, isn't it? That was kind of like a misleading information. But
yeah, yeah,
in the standards of smart contracts, the government can go ahead and, if needed, go ahead and take a proactive step and say that we have certain codes. You can go ahead and utilize it, making the entire smart code legal. And let's say if a transaction between Marcus and George does decide to fail, there could be legal consequences for that. Right now, there are legal consequences, let's say, for hacking or stealing funds. But for smart contracts, what I'll do is, I'll go ahead and send you a very one-page single PPT slide. I think that would explain what I'm talking about. And that is something which can definitely be worked upon. I'm surprised that no one has actually done that. Right now, we talk about that code is law, isn't it? But in that code, you can actually go ahead and write certain laws as well. Hopefully, that thing gets implemented as well. But yeah, I think we have covered pretty much everything. And next week, we have Greg Davis, who's the managing director from Bitcoin Inc. in the MENA region. And probably he'll join us for 15 minutes. He'll talk about, his experience in the so-called cryptocurrency, but now Bitcoin space, because he's got a really interesting profile. We'll ask him some questions regarding the upcoming Bitcoin MENA event. But other than that, I think we are pretty much done in today's episode, isn't it?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So I am looking forward to having that conversation with folks from Bitcoin Magazine. I know people are interested and hyped up to check out what's happening in Abu Dhabi with Bitcoin MENA. So I don't know, it's definitely gonna be a whole lot of fun. So no, but hey, thank you, George, for making that happen. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, Eric Trump will also be here. Hopefully, his dad, that is President Donald Trump, gets reelected as the 47th and hopefully 48th President of the United States of America.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're pretty.
Right. Let me see. All right. So we got. I just But yeah, I think I was just I don't think we have anything else. So hey fam, so thank you for joining us. I mean, this last week and also this week has just been a banger of so many events, a lot of interesting side events. So yeah, glad to be, but I'm grateful to be here with George. Cover the macro trends, what's happening in the Bitcoin space, the global crypto market, and also of course here home in sunny side Dubai. So George, thank you so much for your thought leadership and research in all things unfiltered weeklies in crypto, blockchain, and AI. So we gotta go. So y'all be good, y'all be safe, and we will talk to you soon.